All right, so thanks for joining us for this quick SmartTab POS training video. In this video, what we're going to do is we're going to run you through the system, show you how everything works, show you where the buttons are, get you a little familiar with the system. So when your first day of training comes, you'll have a head start in knowing how the system works. This is going to be your login screen. This is going to where you're going to be able to clock in and out, also be able to log into the system to start ringing things up. Some SmartTab systems do have a biometric fingerprint reader that's going to ask you to clock in with your fingerprint. In this case, we don't have a fingerprint reader on this station, so we're not going to utilize that. But if you did, you would just hit clock in on the side. You'll have your fingerprint reader. It's going to be a blue light. Put your finger on. It'll come in and ask you to clock in. For our purposes, we're just going to clock in with our number. So we're going to put in our 4-digit PIN number. We're going to hit clock in. And this is going to be the screen you see here. If you do have multiple roles, say you're a server one day, a bartender another day, and you have multiple roles, it'll give you the option of what role you are that day. You'll choose it, busser, bartender, whatever it is, and then you'll come in and it'll come to the screen. What you're going to do is clock in. Now I'm clocked into the system. I'm ready to go. To access the system and get in, I'm going to use my number now that I'm clocked in. I'm going to go to the POS button right here, and this is going to bring me into to my menu screen for SmartTab. So depending on if you're a bartender or a server, there's going to be two different screens you come into. If you're a bartender, you're going to come into this menu screen right away to start ringing drinks up, food items, stuff like that. If you're a server, it's going to bring you into this table section first. So generally servers are going to choose their table and then ring things in so they know where their tables are at and so on. So depending on what your role is, menu or tables will be the login screens that you're going to come into. Just to kind of simplify the system, make it a little bit easier to comprehend. These three tabs right here, menu, tables, tabs right here, these three tabs basically do 95% of everything you need to know in SmartTab. So once you know that these three tabs do mostly everything you need to know, it'll simplify the system so it doesn't seem so big and so in depth. This more button right here, the only time we're going to come here is we're going to come here to run our employee reports, or we're going to transfer tab ownerships if we need to transfer any of these checks to other employees. But we'll go through that as we start, as we get through some of this. We'll show you how to do that. So in SmartTab, 3 ways to start a tab. I can start a tab by clicking on Start New Tab right here. I can type in a tab name. Let's just say Test. Boom, I've started a tab. Now I can start ringing items in. I can send a tab right here. Send a tab is going to send the order off, send it to the kitchen, send it to the bar. It's going to save your tab. That's kind of how you're going to save what you've rang in into the system. Another way to start a tab is if you're a server or you're a bartender. Sometimes bartenders want to start tables on seats. You just find one of the seats right here, click on bar 9, for example, we'll ring up a screwball and a Jameson, send a tab, and we're good to go. So the third way to start a tab is we can start a tab with a credit card. So essentially what we can do is put a credit card on file, have it ready to run when we're done at the end of the experience with the customer, and then we can automatically click on that credit card to run it and be able to close the customer out as we need to. What I suggest is you still keep that credit card with you. What's valuable for starting the tab with a credit card, for example, as you can see, I've started a couple tabs already. As soon as you start the tab with a credit card, what it's going to do is it's going to label the tab with the customer's name. So Michael J. Donahue, Nicholas Benjamin. And then when I click on the tab, like I was saying before, it's also going to be where I click on card right here. This is how you run a transaction. You can see the credit card is already stored on the tab. So all I have to do is hit charge chip for the credit card transaction. It'll actually run that credit transaction and process the payment as you need. So 3 ways to start a tab: label it, start it yourself with a name, select a table, or start it with a credit card. If I do ring up a couple items, and let's just say I didn't name it, and I just go to send a tab right away, it's going to automatically prompt me to save it with a name. So what I'll do is just put the name in, boom, push done, and then now I have the tab started with Ben, Test, the table 9. Those are how I started the tabs. So kind of getting in how to ring in orders. Again, we're going to start in this menu tab right here. Here's my categories. I can take my finger, I can go up and down, drag my finger, and I can go to the categories from top to bottom. I can use these arrows right here to kind of filter down, up and down on the categories. Let's say draft beer is going to have all my draft, wine is going to have all my wine like you're used to. So you can go to the categories and select the items you need, Or what you can do is we have our what we have is a built-in menu search in SmartTab. So this would be huge for bars that have lots of whiskeys and tequilas, or for new staff that's not familiar with the system. They can just type the items in, and if they don't know where they're at the categories right away, anything you type in right here on the menu search will populate. So let's type in Jameson real quick, Jam. Boom, I got the 3 different types of Jameson. See how it's got jam? Anything with Jam will populate. Let's say I'm typing in burger, for example, BUR. Anything with burger or BUR will come up, and I'll be able to easily select that. So the menu search makes it pretty easy to find what products you need pretty quick. I can ring in a couple more items right here. Let's come to the left right here. What I can do is I can drag my finger over the items. See how I can select the items with dragging my finger up or dragging it down. This is going to highlight the items, and then I can delete the items. A lot of systems, what you'll find is you got to kind of play that game of trying to singly select an item so you can delete it. With SmartTab, we can highlight the items with one swipe of a finger. I can delete that out and I can start over. Or if I selected too many, I can delete the next product, what I need here. So that delete button is where we're going to start right here. The delete button will delete any of the items that you rang in that you don't need. If you do send a tab or you print the check, for example, let's see, we have one. If I print this check, now it sends that order off to the bar, to the kitchen. And now when I go to delete it, it's going to become a void. So just be careful when you're ringing in items. If you come to the screen right here as a void screen, you must have either printed the check or sent the check. So in that case, whether you have permission to actually void it yourself, or maybe you need to save this tab later for a manager to void out. This is going to be basically how you void a transaction. You're going to choose the reason. Let's just say we rang too many. We're going to select the done button right here. Done. Anytime you see a $0 tab or anything that's zeroed out, you're just going to hit this close button. So let's get familiar with this close button. Anytime you see a tab, like I said, with a $0 check, if you want it to go away, some systems you push cash and it cashes out a 0. With us, we're just going to push close and it goes away to 0. So again, I'm going to ring up a couple items. Instead of ringing up multiple items like I did, what we can do is use this multiplier bar right here. So this multiplier bar, I can make it 4, I can make it 7, right? Let's say Jameson, I need 3, Kettle 1, I need 4. So this is a multiplier bar to multiply items that you need rather than having to type in Jameson 4 times like that. I can just type in 1 and then hit 4 and then be able to have it list 4 Jamesons. I know what you're thinking. Oh, what if I have to split a check, or if I have to separate some off, and if I ring them all up in a number like this, how do I split one off or whatever? The beautiful thing about SmartTab is, I'm going to label this Ben. I think I already did a Ben tab. But what I can do is I'm going to send this to tab real quick, and I'm going to come back to this Ben tab. What I can do is see how I have this collapse and expand. So when I collapse or expand, when I expand that, I can basically have it as 4, have it as 7, or when I expand it, now I can have them individually so I can separate 1 off or 2 off or whatever I need to. So generally what you'll do is you'll just, if you have any of the items highlighted, highlight them so they're all unhighlighted. You'll get this expand collapse button and you'll be able to separate those pretty easily. So let's get back real quick. So we got a couple items. So we went to the delete button. We showed you how to do that. Mods. This is going to be your modifiers. This is going to be for anything for food and drink. So if I click on mod for well rum, this is going to show my modifiers, whether it's Coke or Diet Coke or on the rocks, maybe a garnish or anything like that. Generally, when bartenders are going to ring things up, the mods aren't going to pop up because you know what you're pouring. You don't need the modifiers there. Maybe you do need the modifier for an upcharge for maybe Jameson and Red Bull, right? As soon as you select your modifier, you're just going to go up here and push the done button. That'll enable the modifier to be done, so you can move on, ring on other things if you need to, or send a tab to go ahead and send that off so that you can ring in some other checks. I'm just going to call this one send. Come back here. Here's my send tab, back open, good to go. Also in the modifier section, so when a server rings up a drink, what you're going to have is as soon as they ring up a screwball, for example, boom, it's going to have the modifier pop up because obviously the server needs to communicate to the bartender what goes in the drink, how it needs to be made. So servers, when they ring up a drink, it's going to automatically have the modifier pop up. Again, bartenders, when they ring up a drink, it's not going to have the modifier pop up. You'll go to the modifiers and then modify as you need to. While we're in this modifier screen as well, you can also hand type in modifiers. So like as a C server or anything you want, this will be for food as well. So we'll just type in on the side, right? And then as I hit add, I can put on the side under that drink, or maybe I should have put maybe lime on the side. Push add. Now I can add that on the bottom of that drink so I can communicate to the kitchen of the bartender what I want. Maybe I didn't have a modifier correctly in there that I need to put in there. So you can hand type what you need. And then also you can hand type, even though Red Bull's here, let's just say Red Bull, and we want to put a price on it. Let's say we want to put it in as $3 to show up. What we're going to do is we're going to hit add, and then now the Red Bull shows up as $3. So you can also modify a price along with the product in there if we don't have the correct modifiers in there that you need, or if you're doing a specialty drink that needs to be upcharged. So push done. Modifiers are good. Send to tab. We're good to go. Perfect. Let's come back to send real quick. We're going to come back here. What we're going to do, so we're delete mods. This transfer right here. So this transfer means I'm going to transfer within myself. I'm going to transfer one of my items to another check. I'm going to combine checks within myself. If you want to transfer to another employee because you're leaving the shift or they move to another table, that's when you're going to come down to this triple dot more, and that's going to be transfer ownership. So we're going to come back to this transfer in a minute. Let's go to more real quick. And what we're going to do is we're going to transfer tab ownership to another employee. So let's just say, for example, that I came here and I have this tab right here, this test tab. I want to transfer this to another server, for example. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the more button right here. I'm going to go to transfer tab ownership. Remember, I'm transferring the tab to a new owner. I'm going to click on this right here, and then I'm going to find that tab right here. Got the name of the tab right here. It would have a table name right here. You can search these or filter these right at the top by clicking on, if you want it alphabetical, if you wanted to read the table name first, or numerical through the ticket number. So this is going to be your ticket number right here, and this is going to be the easiest number to always search. So every tab has a ticket number or a check number. So along with test, we know that this is ticket 7. So when we come to more, we go to transfer tab ownership. I can see test, and this is ticket 7. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that check. I'm going to select the employee to transfer to. Actually, I don't have another employee logged in, so let's log in an employee real quick so that I can transfer. I can't transfer a check unless the employee that I'm transferring is already clocked in. So I already have now a second employee clocked in. I'm going to come back here to the more button. Again, we're going to go to transfer tab ownership. We're going to go to that test tab, ticket 7, click on that. I'm going to select the employee that I'm transferring it to right here. And then I'm going to transfer it to Cowboy SmartTab. So I'm going to click on Cowboy SmartTab. See how it's under SmartTab Ben right here? What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this transfer button. Boom. Now it's transferred to Cowboy SmartTab, but it's assignment pending. And what that means is for us to transfer checks, what it's going to do is it's going to create a handshake essentially for the other server or bartender to accept the check, so you can't just transfer checks off unknowingly to other people. So what that's going to do is now create an assignment pending. What Cowboy SmartTab is going to have to do is log into the system, and he's going to come up here, go into the transfer tab ownership, and instead of assign, where we're already logged in as assign, he's going to click on accept, and the tab's going to be right there. So I'll show you. So I'm going to log out real quick. I'm going to clock in as SmartTab Cowboy right now. I'm going to come to this more button, transfer tab ownership again. And then instead of assign, what we're going to do is we're going to go to accept. And under accept, you can see that test tab number 7 is waiting to be accepted from Ben to Cowboy SmartTab. If you transfer a check and it's not accepted by the other server, that check will stay under your number. You'll won't be able to clock out because you can't clock out with open checks, and then B, it might not be tendered or closed out, so you might be responsible to have to pay for that. So just make sure that whoever you're transferring it to does accept that check, does take that on. you'll know that it wasn't accepted usually when you go to clock out because you have an open check that you haven't closed out. Just remind Cowboy SmartTab, hey, go ahead and accept that check. It's going to accept it, and now he's able to accept it. If a manager transfers a check, it's instantly going to happen. They don't have to do the handshake. It'll automatically go to the other server, bartender, whoever it's being transferred to. But for servers and employee purposes, there's going to be a handshake that has to be accepted once it's been assigned from another server. Cool. So let's get back into it. So we're gonna go 147. We're gonna go 1477 back in. Okay, let's go to another tab. We're gonna come back to the send tab. So now we've been able to go through the delete mods. This transfer right here, I'm gonna give you a couple instances. For example, let's say we started a tab and the customer that had the screwball on here didn't want to be on this check. Wants his own check. Wants his own separate check without being on here. Or maybe the screwball, we spilled it and we need to split it off onto a new check because now it needs to become a discount. What we'll do is we'll select the item we want to transfer, go to transfer right here. I can transfer it to an existing check. Maybe somebody wants to buy that screwball. Maybe this Benjamin wants to buy the screwball. I can select the check and it'll go right on there. But for this instance, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new tab or a new check with just that screwball. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to, again, screwball, transfer, and I'm going to select new tab right here. When I click on new tab, I'm going to call it new, for example, and I push done. Now we have a separated check that's named new. This is always going to be where the name of the check, whether it's started with a credit card, whether you hand typed it in, it's always going to be up here. Now I have that new check with the screwball, and then I have the other tab, send, that's still here. So now I've been able to separate those tabs with only a couple clicks. Let's say that send wants to buy that guy's, that news tab. Hey, that news guy's great guy. I'm going to buy his tab. Cool. What we're going to do is we're going to select the new tab. We have the item right here. See how it says transfer right now? And then when I click on it and I highlight it and then I click off of it, see how it says merge? Merge and transfer are essentially the same exact thing. The only difference is merge is going to merge the whole check. Let's click on that. Transfer, when I highlight it, is going to transfer the item to the check. It's essentially going to do the same thing, but I'll give you an example. I'm going to highlight the item. I'm going to push transfer. It's the only item essentially on there, so it's basically merging the whole check. When I go to the send tab, I'm going to send that, and what that does is when I come to tabs, it transferred that item off onto the send tab, but then it left me an open check at 0. That's okay because essentially all I have to do is push close and that check will close. To save that step, essentially, what I can do is merge the check and it'll automatically close this check. So I'll show you real quick. So I'm just going to close this. Remember, any $0 check, we're going to push close. Let's come back to see how the new check went away. I'm going to go to the send tab. I'm going to split this off again one more time. So screwball, transfer. I'm going to go to a new tab. I'm going to call it new. Push done. I'm going to send a tab. So now when I'm on the new tab, what I'm going to do is it's already got transfer. I'm going to highlight the item, and then I'm going to unhighlight it because all of the items need to be unhighlighted for it to be considered a merge, because a merge is going to merge the whole check. Once I hit merge, I find the check that I want, that send tab right here. I'm going to click on that. You'll notice under the tab section, now that new check that was right here, it transferred that item over and then closed out that new check. So essentially merge just saved us a step of having to go close out that 0 check. There's not a wrong way to do it. Just wanted to show you how that kind of works. Perfect. So what we're going to do is delete, mods, transfer. We went through those 3. Let's unhighlight the items, and now we have split payment. So split payment is going to be able to split checks up in multiple ways for multiple people, maybe half cash, half card. We'll go through a couple scenarios on that real quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select split payment. Let's say that I need 3 splits. I'm going to hit split right here 3 times. Now you can see that it incrementally equally split those checks 3 ways. I can cash the check out, run the credit card on each one from this screen right here. So let's say that these 3 guys want to split the check 3 ways. No problem. Again, what I'm going to do is just come to split payment. add split, equally split it 3 ways. I can print the individual checks here, or I have the button right here that will print all 3 checks for me to be able to go and hand to the guys. So when I come back, I'm going to push done. I'm going to push send to tab because I'm going to go drop those checks off. Now I come back, I have those payments for those checks. I go to tabs, I come to send, and then what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do cash or card from here. I'm going to go to the split payment because the split payment is already going to have the payment split essentially for me to be able to cash out accordingly. So let's say this one was cash. I'm going to click on cash. Anytime you see this green screen come up, this is just saying tap here to proceed. All you're going to do is anywhere on the green, tap here to go to the next screen. I can reprint an itemized receipt if I need to, or if I need to know what the change was for the cash they gave me. This calculator is going to be whatever they physically gave you. So let's say they gave you $40. You type in 40. Here's the change right here. Say they gave you a $50 bill. Type in 50. Here's the change right here. You can toggle this on and off by clicking that. You don't have to ring in the change. It's only if you don't want to use your fingers and toes to count. The change button will give you the ability to figure out what that change is. If you don't need that, anywhere tap here to proceed. I click there. Now you can say this check's paid by cash. Maybe this is a credit card that I need to run. I'm going to chip the card and I'm going to put it in the side of the terminal. Show you guys how to run a transaction later on that. For this purpose, I'm just going to run the fake Visa. You're going to see this payment processing portion right here. And boom, now I've been able to run the credit card. I can add the tip right away if I want to. If not, it'll go into a pending phase that I can add the tip whenever I'm have free time at the end of my shift. I don't have to put it in right away. But again, if I need to reprint the credit card receipt or reprint the itemized receipt, I can click reprint it from right here. If not, tap here to proceed will get me to go on to the next check. Maybe this one's cash. Boom, tap here to proceed. Now I've cashed out all 3 of those. I'm going to come back to the pending check that we ran for the credit card to show you how to do that. But we'll go through the tab section in a moment to kind of show you how to access all of those tabs. So real quick, I'm going to do one more split check. Let's just say we're going to do, actually, let's come back here to an easier one. We're going to come to this Ben tab right here, split payment. Let's say that the customers only want the items that they purchased instead of equally splitting. That's most likely going to be something that happens, no problem. What we're going to do is we're going to add the splits that we need. So let's just say it's 3 splits. Automatically, again, it's going to split them 3 equal ways. But in this case, we don't want to split them 3 ways. We want to only put the products on the checks that they actually purchased. So on most systems, what you're going to do is you're going to select the item and then put it on the check. Ours is a little different. You're going to select the check and then click on the item. The check and then click on the item. And then check and then click on the item. See how when I click on the item, it automatically goes in there and then it also color coordinates to the check that I need it to. So now I've been able to put all of these items onto the specific checks that I needed to by clicking the check first. Let's say I'm going to click on this one. Maybe this screwball was supposed to go on this guy's tab and I put it on this guy's tab. No problem. I'm just going to click on this check, pick one of these items that I want to go on there, click on that screwball. Now I've been able to add that item to that check 1 rather than check 2. Again, I can print these individual checks, print them all out. Once I push done, I'm going to send a tab, go drop the checks off. I come back, click on the check. What I'm going to do is see how it's already split with the same color coordinated. Again, I don't want to cash or card right here because that will close it out as one check. What I want to do is access the split payment by coming in here, and then now my checks are going to be split in how I wanted them to be split originally. If I go to remove these splits, I see how I can remove the splits. I can push remove real quick, remove. See how this one won't remove? Real easy. All I got to do is unhighlight the item and then I can remove it to one check. So if you're wanting to remove the splits and then just put it to one check and it doesn't allow you, just remember you got to unhighlight the items that you had highlighted. Last instances on this split payment, hey, I got $10 cash, the rest on the card, no problem. What I'm going to do, again, come to split payment. I'm going to type in the cash amount here. So let's just say they want to put $10 cash towards that tab. I just select the actual number right here, type in 10, and then I hit cash. Boom, it's going to cash that out for $10. As soon as I tap here to proceed, you're going to see that that remainder balance now came down to the second check. Now I can click on card. I'm going to run that card by chipping it on the side. As soon as it processes here, boom, we have it already processed and ready for pending for you to put in the credit card tip when you need to. All right, so pretty easy. We went through the system. We've gone through delete, transfer, mod, split payment. Went through those buttons. This is going to be your print receipt button. This is where you're always going to print your checks. Even if I have a tab that's closed, for example, this is going to be my closed tabs. Let's just say I wanted to reprint this closed tab right here. Just know that print button is always going to be right there. We do have a email button. We can email the receipt to. We're not going to be fancy and do any of that, but you can email the receipt. Send a tab is going to send the order off, send the check to where you need to. Let's say maybe I open this check up and I don't want to be in it. How do I get rid of it? I can just push send a tab again, and it'll allow me to get rid of that tab so that I can either start ringing something else in or come to another check. Here's the cash button. This will be how I cash something out. I'm going to say, let's cash out this Ben tab. Click on the tab. I'm going to click cash. Boom, we've been able to cash that check out. Tap here to proceed, cashed it out. Let's come back to the tabs. Let's go to this bar 9 one right here. Card, if I want to run the card for the whole check, I just click on card. Again, chip the card on the side. I'm just going to hit Visa Fake as like we're running a card, and that's going to be a quick transaction to close out. I can add the tip as if I want. We'll go through that in a second, but for now, we're just going to cancel out of that and let that go into the pending where we can put it in later. I'll show you guys how to do that in a minute. Let's say we want to do a quick sale. We're a bartender. We don't need to start a tab. We don't need to do anything like that. Say we need 2 Jack Fires. We want to cash it out. Just ring in 2 Jack Fires, push cash. We're good to go. Maybe we need a Jameson and a Screwball. I need to just run the credit card as one transaction. Ring in the Jameson Screwball. Click on the card, chip the card, Visa Fake, and in about 3 seconds, you're going to have the credit card processed and ready to go. So I'm going to tap here to proceed, and that's about it. So basically, I was able to show you how to navigate through all of the menu checks and all of the buttons there. Also, too, on the menu screen, we do have a built-in happy hour button. So anything that's on happy hour, you're going to notice it's going to be in pink. So anything that's going to be discounted during happy hour, depending on what hours, what days, it's going to be the same button, but it's going to just show as a pink number, meaning this is the discounted price. Some other point of sales, sometimes you'll have a Coors Light bottle happy hour, and then you have regular Coors Light or NFL special, opposed to regular special or regular price. We're going to have it automatically change the price of that item depending on what the parameters are of your happy hour. So anything that's in pink, you'll know it's happy hour. And then also too, we have this happy hour button up here that you can click on that will bring all of your happy hour items from the menu right to the front of the screen. So again, if you're a new bartender, a new server, and you're not sure what's on happy hour, but you know it's happy hour time, you can just click on happy hour right here. These are going to be all your offerings because again, they're all in pink. They're all still in their same categories where they're supposed to be. They're just going to, the price is just going to change. And last thing on the menu button, we have a repeat round button. So I can select the items. It's going to be a repeat item or a repeat round. I'll show you what that means. So let's just say I highlight it here. I push repeat. Pretty self-explanatory. It's going to add those 2 items. Maybe I want to add 2 more. Repeat. Perfect. We're good to go. What the repeat round button means, I'm going to say send a tab. I'm going to come back to that tab real quick. And you can see that these 4 products, those are the ones that I just repeated and I rang in last round, correct? So these items that are in cream, if I go to any other checks, see how those are cream items? Those are all just because I rang in those items all at once. But any of these items in cream are considered the last round rang. So if you just know that you need a whole nother round of those items rang, you don't need to highlight them. Just hit the repeat round button and it'll repeat those same 4 items that you rang. Send a tab, you're good to go. You've repeated the round pretty quickly. So pretty straightforward on the menu, how to ring things in. We'll go through some more as we're training you. Just wanted to show you where those things are at. The no sale button for the bartenders or anybody with cash drawers. You click on that no sale button. This is going to open your drawer to be able to allow you to get change, do whatever you need to get into your drawer. So one last thing I wanted to show you before we move on to the next section of tables and tabs is our customer profile. So Michael J. Donahue, for example, we started a tab with a credit card right here. When I go to the card, again, you can see the card was started and on file, ready to be run as soon as he's ready to check out. But also when we start that tab with that credit card, you can see right up in the top left right here, the customer profile icon. What this number is how many times Michael J. Donahue has visited your bar. So when I click on this little icon right here, what that's going to do is expand some more information as far as how much he spent, visits, time between visits. He's had 3 successful transactions. We do have rewards right here. That is coming in the next month or two that we'll have expand to rewards. And there's a couple other things that aren't active as well. Tabs right here, we'll be able to see their previous tabs and then also be able to make notes. You know, maybe Michael punched somebody and we had to throw him out. We could put that in the notes. And then also too, we can ban him as a customer so that that green check mark will show up red, and then we ban him so that he's not allowed back into the place when he does start a tab. It'll also show the top 5 items that he purchases when he's purchasing drinks, and then also if there was any food, it'll show his top 5 items here so that you can start a tab for Michael. If you've never seen him before, you can come up to him and say, hey, can I get you a Jack Daniels and a Smirnoff Ice? You might gain a new customer, a new regular, by just knowing these little things about him. This is going to give it, like I said, this is going to expand more and give us more data as we grow it. But for now, you can use it as simple as visits, purchases, and spends on that. So tables, let's go through that real quick. Tables, we're going to have multiple table charts up here depending on how many dining rooms or different areas you have. We're going to build it out for you and kind of try to reflect how your seatings are with your table numbers that you have. Let's say that I'm on table 14. I started a table on M14. I'm going to have a Jameson, a Screwball. I'm going to send a tab. When I come back to tables, you can see that M14 is highlighted in blue. If you send it to the bar, you send it to the kitchen, that ticket that comes in on the kitchen is going to have that M14 essentially showing the food runner or whoever's running your food where those items go, so that you know if you select a table, you also have the ability to have the labeled where the location is. Just remember this, any tables that you create will also be a tab. So all tables are always going to be a tab, but not all tabs are tables, if that makes sense. So even though I have a table at M14, it's still going to create as a tab if ticket 17 as M14 as a tab here. So I can create and open the tables. Let's say I send a tab and I come to tables, I can click on that table and it'll open that tab right here, or I can come to the tab section and I can click on the tab and it'll bring up that same table as well. Let's just say that I maybe started a tab right here, Michael J. Donahue. I started a tab with a credit card. Now they move to a table and I want to put them on a table. What we can do is just come up to where the name is right here and see where it says edit. I can easily add a table to this name, no problem, by clicking on edit. The name's already going to be right here. Instead of it being listed on bar tab right here, I'm going to click on table tab, and then maybe he's on machine 10. So I'm going to click on machine 10. Now you can see Michael Donahue still has his name, but now he has a table on it. So you can name tables with credit cards with regular names. You can add multiple to however you want. So just remember, if you've already started a tab, you've already started a check. Here's a test tab that I started. I'm going to click on edit. I'm going to go to this table tab right here. I want to add it. Now he's moved to machine 9 or bar 6. Click on bar 6. Now bar 6 is there. When I send a tab to close it, I can come to my table section. You can see that the bar 6 essentially is right here for me to be able to click on and see the check. Perfect. So table is pretty self-explanatory. We're going to set that up depending on how your table charts are with your numbers. You can click on it. Just remember, tables are always going to be tabs. Not all tabs are tables. All right, tab section. So 3 stages of a tab. There's going to be open, pending, and then close. Open is going to be all of your open checks. Anything that you have open that you're adding to that you haven't run a payment on, haven't done anything with yet. Pending is going to be where all your credit card slips are, essentially when you've run your credit card, and now it's just waiting for you to input the tip. Once you click on this check and input the tip, it will then go to closed. And then closed is going to be all of your closed checks, your cash checks, your credit checks. Whatever checks you've had discounts, you'll be able to go through and see them all. Depending on if you have multiple pages, you can click on the pages and go through them. If I click on the check or the tab once, I can see what's on the check. So just remember that I can click on the check once and see what's on it. Same thing with the open check, for example. I'm going to click on this once, it'll show me what's on it. This is because sometimes maybe we ring something up and I can't remember where I put it, right? So I'm just going to click once. This will allow me to see what's on the checks without having to open it. Because most systems, if I open the check and I don't like it, then I have to send a tab to close it and then open up another one. So this way we can click on it once, see what's on the check, and then if I tap it twice, so if I click once, I can see what's on the check. Twice will allow me to add more onto it. Same thing for the open checks. If I click on it once and I don't click it twice, essentially I can just hit the menu button and it'll allow me to ring in extra items that I need to. I'm going to send a tab. Now I'm going to send that off and being able to add items to that check. So the pending, same thing with pending. If I click on the checks once, it's going to show me what was on the check. If I double tap it or double click on the check, this now allows me to add my credit card tip that I need to add. So this is going to be the screen that pops up. If you were to add tip right away after you ran it on that green screen where it says add tip, this would be the same box that comes up. Depends on whenever you get to it, when you want to run it. This screen is going to come up. So what you're going to do is you're going to add the tip right here. So let's just say it's $5. You don't have to add the decimal because it'll already add it for you. So you'll add the 5 right here, or for the guests that think they're cute and write in math, you can just type the total of the bottom and it'll calculate the tip right here. Depending on which one you want to write, it will change the top or the bottom depending on what you input. So again, if I type in 15, it'll change the bottom. If I put in 20 or I put in 57, it'll calculate the top. So for those drunk customers that you can't read what they put in for a tip or a total, now just take the number you can see legibly, type it in, and then to close that check out, you're going to hit add tip, and that check is going to go from pending to close. See, now I only have 3 checks. So I'm going to click on this check right here. I'm going to double tap it so I can open it again. Even if the tip is 0, you're still going to come in here, leave it as 0, and then hit add tip to close out the check. One of the features that we got in SmartTab that bartenders will love and people that have tons of credit card tips to input, you can double tap or double click on the check like we just did to input the tips. Or an easier way to do it is what I can do is take the actual check, and in the very top left is going to be the ticket number of the check. What you'll see is it'll be ticket 16, ticket 9, ticket 8. What you can do is, just like the menu search that we have right here, we also have a tab search that's right here. So to come back to the pending and credit card tip input in a second, this tab search will search anything on these tabs, whether it's open, pending, wherever I'm at. So we're in the open right now. Let's say I have a tab for Michael that I'm looking for. I type in MIC, boom, it pulls up that check with Michael on it. Let's say that I'm looking for David, DAV, it pulls up that check with David. So if you've saved the checks with the credit card names on it, you've typed it in, you can easily tab search that check by typing in the name right here and being able to pull up that check. For example, let's do Michael. I'm going to click on that check that I found. I'm going to double tap it to open it. I'm going to come to card. I'm going to see that the card's already right here. I'm going to hit charge the chip card. Boom, it's going to process that card. And now I give Michael that credit card slip. Here you go. He's on his way. And I was able to find that tab very easily. So we can have 100 tabs open. And you might have two Michaels, you might have two Nicholases, but what it's going to do is easily when you type in KAY, it's going to bring only those checks that have those names, or maybe it's a table number or a check number. Anything on these checks are searchable. The ticket number, all of that. Let's just say that I wanted to do Visa 8323, 8323. Boom, it pulls up that check. The best way is always going to be off the names, but just so you can see for purposes of the expanded search, anything is searchable on the check. But what I wanted to show you when I come to pending is how I can use the search button to be able to close these credit card tips out super fast. Is what I can do is, let's just say I grab check 3 and I have it in my hand. Sometimes you have checks that has the same guy running for the same beer 5 different times. He's going to have a 25-cent tip on one, stiffed you on another, and so on. So you're trying to match up those credit card receipts, trying to figure out which ones go with each other. The easiest way to do it in SmartTab is I can have all of my slips shuffled up. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab that slip. I'm going to find that ticket number, and I'm going to type that ticket number here. Let's say 3. As soon as I type 3, boom, it opens up the check right here. So I can enter $5 tip. I hit add tip. Now that closed that check out. Let's say that I come back and I look at my computer's glitching for a sec. But when I come back here, now my next check that I have in my hand is 8. If there's no other 8, or maybe if you had check 88, it would show this 8 and then 88. But if you don't have any other check numbers with those numbers, it's automatically going to open that check for you to input the tip, hit add tip, and then it'll be able to put in the next tab that you need to. 9, add tip, and so on. So adding tips to credit cards at the end of the night, what used to take an hour will take you 15 minutes tops by just using this this search bar, by just adding the ticket number right here. 1-6, boom, add tip, $8, done, closed out. So now all of those credit cards that I rang in are on my close section. If I click on it once, I can see what was on that check. If I click on it twice, I can even see what the tip I actually put in right there. You might not have refund or partial refund access. Might be a manager thing, but we can adjust tips if we need to too. Maybe it was supposed to be an $18 tip. I can hit adjust tip, 18, and then I'll hit add tip again, and then now it'll adjust that tip to reflect the correct tip that I need to. So basically, I've gone through menu, I've gone through tables, and I've gone through tabs, and I've showed you basically everything you need to know. When you're clocking out, when you're running your reports, you just need to make sure that all of your open and all of your pending tabs are all closed. So all and closed should be able to be the same number, should always be the same number. You can search if you're a bartender or you're a manager and you can see other people's checks and you need to find out, maybe a bartender has access to add a void or add a discount. You can use this filter right here to say, oh, I want to go see Cowboy SmartTabs checks. I want to see Ben's checks. Right here, the green is always going to be your own checks. So what I recommend, instead of seeing everyone's checks, because on a busy night you'll have a lot of checks on your screen, you can just click on, have it on your check so that you show, but maybe the other bartender is Cowboy SmartTab, and you need to add something to their check or close their check out. You can click on there and it'll easily find those checks. One of the things that I can tell you too is if you ever come to a point where your checks disappear and you don't have any checks on your screen, you're like, hey, what's going on? We have these different filters up here that will filter the different things. So bar means names that I've input or run with tabs on credit cards. Floor means tabs that I've run on tables, and then both is going to show both. And then also I can filter by employee or role. So maybe there's like server, bartender, I can filter by roles. Generally, these are going to be the pre-existing ways that's set at both an employee. But for example, if I accidentally hit floor, see how there's no checks there? That's just a filter that I accidentally turned on. This is the rule of thumb. If you ever come to a check or come to an instance that your checks have disappeared and you can't see it, just remember we have this big pink button right here that we created for you to drop all filters. Once you click that pink button, it'll automatically take you to the default so that you can see all of the checks and see what you were used to. So if you ever come to an instance, you don't know where your checks are, drop all filters is going to be with that handy pink button that'll bring everything back to the screen. Perfect. This right here can also search the credit cards as far as by the names and filter like that. Forgot to show you that. And then also too, you have this little sandwich bar 3-line right here. Depending on how you want to see your checks, I can click on this, and what this will do will give me a click on it once. My computer is running a little slow. I can put it into list view or the tile view that you've seen on this training so far. So the tiles can fit 9 checks on each screen. This view with the list view, I can fit about 20, 15, 20 checks on here. It's got the name, the ticket number, the name, all of that. Bartenders generally like looking at their checks like this. Again, I can filter right to the top by clicking by the first name, the last name. Maybe I want to see the highest checks from top to bottom. However I want to filter it, I can click those filters. But again, if you want to use if you don't want to use the list view, this button right here will take you to the tile view. All right, just about done. We're ready to check out. We're ready to close out. Let's go ahead and just close these rest of these checks out. I'm going to just cash this out. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to basically run our Z. So what we want to do is we want to make sure all and closed are all the same. If we have an open check or a pending check, we want to close it out. When you come to this more button, I'm not going to close this out yet. I'm going to show you in a sec. But when I come to this more button, when you come to the more, you're only going to have this employee report section shown because this is all going to be for managers, these buttons up here. So this is how you're going to run your employee report. Transfer tab ownership is really the only button that you're going to use down here besides this. But when you're ready to run your employee report, you're going to click on your employee report. It's going to populate all of your data. It's going to still show you your open, pending, and closed tabs all right here. So if you were going to run your report and you missed the open check or you didn't look at it here and you just went to more and you went to employee report, just remember all and close need to be exactly the same because then we know all of our checks are closed. I can print this report as of right now, even with an open check, and it'll print my report and give me my Z ready to go. When you print your report, it does not clock you out. It does not log you out of the shift. I can print this report as many times through the shift as I want. The only issue with that is if I print this report out and I still have an open or pending check, I turn my report in and then I go to clock out. When I go to clock out, it's going to say, hey, you still have an open check. So then what you'll have to do is you'll have to come back into the tab section, click on that check, open it up, and then cash it out. And then once you have that check closed out, then you'll have to go to the more button, go to the employee report, and then rerun your report. So just to make it easy, make sure all open, all pending, or all closed. Once those match up, you push print, you print your report, you're good to go. Push log out, and then now you're going to clock out. 1-4 I'm going to hit clock in, clock out, and then now I'm able to enter my existing tips. If I want to add more cash tips in, I can. It's going to already report my credit. I can add cash if I want. If not, you push clock out, and then you're good to go. So as easy as that, you're clocked out, you've run your report. Appreciate your time. There's other videos in this section below that you can run individually to check out. This will just give you a full scope of a walkthrough of a training session on SmartTab POS.